So the episode opens up, y'all, and I immediately thought it was going to be on some fuck shit from beginning to the end, but it was not. However, I am not a fan of the motherfucking time skips. I am not a fan of it at all. It was just like this birthday, that birthday, this one. And I was just like, okay, so instead of us just actually wrapping up plot holes, tying them up, putting a nice little cute bow on them. Instead, we're just gonna jump, like crisscrossing this motherfucker, and then just go on random. That's how I felt watching this episode. But it was not bad. It wasn't terrible. It had its cute moments, but I don't think all the time skips were necessary. And if we just take it back to the beginning with Issa in the car with Nathan, I felt like that was just so trash. I mean, this is like, I guess the theme of this season was for the theme for this season, they did not want to just wrap things up. They didn't want to make it seem like life gets wrapped up. You know what I mean? Life only wraps up truly when you die. So they wanted to show that life just continues to keep on going, which is true, but that ain't how the shit happens in TV shows. You wrap the shit up. So I was not really a fan, but it wasn't a bad episode. Issa's in the car with Nathan. Okay, this part I will say was a fake and contrived ass breakup for me, when him just being like, oh yeah, this shit's hella toxic to me. I've been ignoring the feeling all along. Like, bitch, what feeling were you ignoring? Because y'all only really had this one big issue. Like in the beginning, I wouldn't say in the beginning, but y'all were all in love. Everything was great. You found out you was in love with this woman. And then of course she felt like, they had the argument about her saying, I love you, and he pretty much ignored it. But then he came back and said that he loved her. And then, of course, this fight with him and Lawrence, so it was like, okay, so now this whole relationship been toxic. Now, all of a sudden, it's all been toxic, and you've been ignoring it all along. Because you and Lawrence got into it at this one time. Like, that was weak as fuck to me. And it just seemed like they just wrote something to break them up. My face is itching a little bit. They want to just use anything to break them up so she could just move on. And then, she sees him again at the birthday party. They apologized and everything was all cool. And it seemed like in that conversation, he realized that he made a mistake, but it was too late to try to do it all back again. And Issa had seemed like she had moved on, because we had seen that Issa really did not want to be with Nathan. He was just a rebound to me, but he didn't know that. So, like I said, his basis for breaking up with her was trash. Okay, so then you had all these random ass birthdays and stuff going on, Tiffany fucking hates Denver. She was honest about it, but you do things when you are married, which is like, I cannot imagine. I was like, man, let's make enough money to where we got a home in Denver, we got a home in Los Angeles, please. Kelly gets pregnant. I'm like, wow. On the series finale of Insecure, they decide to give Kelly a man. That is so terrible. And I was having this conversation, I was having this argument in an Insecure Facebook group that I'm in. And I was like, why is it that the fat funny friend never has a man? Not that she gives advice, but it's like the fat funny friend is sex positive is what people like to say. Is sex positive, never has a man, and then when they give her a man, it's at the end of the series. That was trash to me. And it's like, people will say, oh, well, Natasha Rothwell writes Kelly's character. Okay, she could have wrote her character to be the bougie one, and wrote Amanda Seales' character to be the sex positive funny friend. We could have did away with that trope altogether. But whatever. Molly, the only thing that she really went through all these time jumps. And then it's like, here's another thing. On the series finale, we finally see Molly celebrate her birthday. We didn't see Issa have 2 birthdays. I think that's it. We've only seen Issa have No, Kelly had a birthday in the first season. But we finally seen Tiffany have a birthday, and then we seen Molly have a birthday. We've seen these hoes have several birthdays throughout this episode. I thought that was trash. I mean, like, we could have started doing that. What else? Because it wasn't really a lot going on. It was a bunch of bullshit. Like, Issa's just evolving for real. She's meeting all these niggas that she actually has no intentions of being with, birthday dick or no birthday dick. Lawrence and Condola are never together. You know, she calls him on his birthday, trying to take him out. And I'm just like, y'all haven't spoken for how many years now? And you just like, hey, let's go out for your birthday. That ain't how that shit worked. That was just unrealistic to me. You would think it'd be like, hey, happy birthday. How have you been? What have you getting into? How's the baby? It was just like, oh, yeah, I just spoke with Molly the other day and she was telling me to go after what I want. So this is me going after what I want on his birthday. Like, that was like, it was just so unrealistic, because it was like, come on, y'all, people really do move on, especially like if y'all not in close proximity with each other to like still have those feelings. They in two different circles. She has her own business and he works in tech, and Derek is in Denver, so she ain't really been seeing him by way of Derek, and he ain't been seeing her by way of Tiffany. So what the fuck? Like, people really move on. And then like them just calling each other over the years random as hell, and this one ain't answering the phone and that one ain't answering the phone. It's like, come on now, Insecure crew. This is a little terrible. But anyway, he's not with Condola. Okay. Molly and Torian get married. That was cute. Tiffany gets pregnant again. That was cute. Molly's mother dies. That was terrible. And it's like, yeah, people had already been calling that out about her mother dying before the episode aired, where she first had her stroke, and I guess they were right. So, man, I'm like, man, I don't never got no predictions. I'm not a clairvoyant when it comes to TV shows, because I was just watching people's predictions come to life on this finale. I'm like, damn, I really ain't got the eye. With that being said, her mom dies, but she gets married. That was cute. I mean, it was just some cute stuff in this episode. But I just feel like this finale really could have went better if Issa just dumped Nathan, because she knew she ain't really want to be with Nathan. Been honest with herself and truly went after what the fuck she wanted. Like, it wouldn't have been no bullshit reasoning in the car after the party when he just making up shit, talking about some, it's been toxic this whole time. Bitch, no the fuck it has not. This is our first issue. Like, it reminded me of how I felt when Andrew broke up with Molly. Like, you mad at her because she don't want to make nice with your brother on his time or your time. No, that's not how that works. If a motherfucker offends me, you can't tell me how not to be mad at them hoes. If I don't want to talk to them hoes for the next 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, then that's just what it is. They committed the offense, not me. That was trash. So yeah, I thought maybe that whole crew, Nathan, Andrew and Julian, although we ain't seen Julian since season 3, maybe they're just a collective of trash niggas. But anyway, she should have broke up with Nathan. We could have seen more of Molly and Torian's romance, budding romance, and it really could have been on some cute shit. Like, Torian could have been like, you know, he felt so strongly about Molly that he just proposed to her, and we could have seen them get engaged. Not married, but engaged. And then we could have seen them see Tiffany off to Denver, and then we could have seen Kelly start dating this dude. And then we actually could have wrapped up this bullshit with Lawrence and Condola. And Issa going to Lawrence, because here's one thing that I did say, I felt like you dating somebody who has a baby on the way, whether it be a male or a female. Anyway, as I was saying, my video was just cut off on some random shit. As I was saying, it may have been more conventional with a man than a woman, but at the end of the day, if you are a mature enough person to understand that the baby is not a competition between you and the baby, then being in a relationship with someone who has a baby on the way, who has a newborn, can be okay. If you establish that, you know, you're secure in your position in a relationship, and that you can, you know, help out where you can help out, not overextend, but just do what's needed, what's required, or what's helpful, then that shit can work out. Because when I seen that they end up getting together in the end anyway, she's full on, well, I don't know if she's full on living with them, but she's with him, going to the house, interacting with John. So I'm like, she could have been doing that from the beginning. And in the beginning, they had their own spaces. So she could have been, and Lawrence, for the most part, was just coming in and coming out. Well, I don't know how it worked out, but regardless, if you feel like you don't want to be around the baby right now, so when he gets the baby, you go to your crib. When the baby's gone, you come back. Or if you got enough tolerance, enough patience to be with the baby while he's there, if he needs sleep and you want to start rocking the baby, feeding the baby, whatever the case may be, and he understands that you are not the mom, it can very much so work out if y'all want it bad enough and y'all both two secure individuals in this relationship. So when I seen them get back together, I'm like, man, they could have been together all along and obsoleted Nathan ass from the beginning. So that's how I felt about that situation in particular. But it wasn't too many situations to really feel anything about. Like, it was cool them celebrating Molly's birthday. Everybody was there. We ain't seen Homeboy from Saved by the I'm about to say Saved by the Bell. We ain't seen Homeboy from Save the Last Dance in years. And he all gray and I'm like, is he really that old to where he needs to be graying? I highly doubt it. I don't think that nigga's 50 yet, but you know, some people do gray early. Whatever the case may be. But he still got a full head of hair if he ain't getting no transplants. Issa doing a cruise to the neighborhood, and we seeing Thug Yoda taking pictures of his daughter, who was like maybe like 10, 11 now. I'm like, damn, it's crazy watching kids grow up on television. And then she drove by We Got Y'all, and Frida got her full-on lesbian, her liberal lesbian haircut. She seems to be running We Got Y'all now. Then she drives by Rite Aid, which is where, you know, she had the iconic Lawrence, can I borrow your Rite Aid card for the discount scene? And then, you know, she goes back home, and then Molly calls her about her broken pussy. And then Khalees plays at the end. I thought that was dope to really tie that in from season 1 to season 5. So, but it was just an okay finale. I felt like it could have been better, but really this season was trash altogether. Like, I just wasn't entertained. Like, it wasn't funny. I felt like they missed a lot of good opportunities for some good drama. I felt like we could have had Lawrence, his host, because that's the thing. In season 1 and season 2, and a little bit of season 3, we seen what Lawrence was going through, and like in depth what he was going through, not just bits and pieces of it. And then, of course, that involved Chad and his friends and all that shit. So him just being here and there this season was trash, especially considering that this was the last season. We probably could have had this in season 4. He could have played this sort of an absent role in the show, but it was just okay. Honestly, I'm not even too sad to see it go. This was one of my favorite shows at first, but like I said, HBO could be an HBO curse to where they cannot just give you a good-ass last season. But in this case, HBO, maybe they had something to do with it, maybe they didn't, but whoever was at that table, I don't know if Tyler Perry came through and wrote a couple scenes, because I just was not impressed. Like, overall, I could accept it not being good content. Well, I won't say content-wise, because the content is always there. Subject matter is always there. But we ain't get the laughs. Like, at least, like, if shit wasn't really going on, at least I'm being entertained. At least I'm amused. At least I'm laughing through the bullshit. But it was cool. I'm curious to see what Issa Rae is going to do next, because I know she was going to do a show. Well, I guess she was in talks to do a show, or wants to do a show based in the 90s, which I love the 90s so much. Like, I can go back on these throwback Instagram pages of just 90s videos all the time. Something about the clothes, the buildings, the settings, the way 90s videos all had directions and scenes and a little bit of acting, to whereas all these videos today are just them in front of a green screen or at a strip club or at an Airbnb. Fucking trash, okay? And then the music, like, I really hope, like, I wish I was like 18 years old in the year of 1990, and then been what, from 18 to motherfucking 28. Is that 10? Is that a fool? No, because if you 18 in 1990, yeah, in 10 years you would be 28. So I wish math wasn't my thing. So I wish I would have been, I would have grew up in the 90s and just seen all the hip hop, the R&B, all the shows, some of the shows that came and went, that only lasted one season. I wish I would have seen all that, the taping stuff on the VCR, Showtime at the Apollo, the Arsenio Hall show. I feel like I missed so much, you know, being born in 1992 and not 1982. You know what I mean? Not that I want to be fucking 40 now. Like, I'm gracious to be 29 right now, but the 90s was definitely an era. So I'm curious and definitely interested in seeing Issa continues with that 90s show. And then she was also talking about doing a show called Him or Her, where it follows a bisexual man. I think that'll be great also. I think that'll be great content. So hopefully she follows through with that. But this is it for Insecure. This season finale was okay. I will say I was entertained, but oh my God, Kelly slapping that glass out of Amal's hand. That was hilarious. But yeah, it was cool. It was a cool ending. But I'm just like, they could have gave us a better finale, I will say, because that Issa and Lauren show, I'm like, man, y'all could have been together all along, clearly. But that's all I got for y'all. Ain't got no more.